Welcome to my channel, Coin Worth Million. Today video is one you won't to miss. We're diving into the world of coins. Top 5 cents, so let's get it started. The 1957 United States of America 5-cent coin, more commonly referred to as the Jefferson Nickel, holds a significant place in mid-20th century American numismatics, both for its design continuity and for the broader historical and economic context in which it circulated. First introduced in 1938 to replace the Buffalo nickel, the Jefferson nickel features a portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States and the principal author of the Declaration of Independence. This coin, struck in 1957, continues to display the original design created by sculptor Felix Schlag, whose work was selected after a national competition. On the obverse of the coin, Jefferson's profile faces left, with the word Liberty inscribed to the right of his face, followed by the date 1957, and a small 5-pointed star separating the two. Above the portrait appears the national EOS motto, "In God We Trust." The reverse side of the coin showcases a detailed image of Monticello, Jefferson's iconic Virginia plantation home, along with the inscriptions E Pluribus Unum across the top and United States of America along the bottom, flanking the denomination 5 cents. Beneath Monticello lies the designer's initials FS in small lettering. In terms of composition, the 1957 Jefferson nickel was struck in an alloy of 75% copper and 25% nickel, which had been the standard metal composition for nickels since 1946, following a brief wartime alteration between 1942 and 1945, when silver was used instead due to nickel shortages. The coin has a diameter of 21.2 millimeters, a weight of 5 grams, and a plain, smooth edge. It was produced at two main U.S. mint facilities, Philadelphia and Denver. The coins minted in Philadelphia bear no mint mark, while those struck in Denver are denoted by a small D on the reverse to the right of Monticello. In 1957, over 38 million nickels were minted in Philadelphia and approximately 136 million in Denver, making the 1957 D variety much more common. This difference in mintage numbers affects collectability and pricing, especially in uncirculated or higher grade conditions. Collectors often seek the 1957 nickel for typesets, Jefferson series sets, or historical American coinage collections. And while most circulated examples are still worth just face value, coins in pristine, uncirculated condition, particularly those with sharp strikes and fully defined steps on Monticello, known as full steps designations, can fetch higher premiums. Grading agencies such as the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or Numismatic Guarantee Company, NGC, evaluate these coins based on factors such as luster, strike sharpness, surface preservation, and presence of mint errors. The full steps designation, awarded to coins where all 6 steps leading up to the Monticello dome are clearly defined and uninterrupted, is especially prized by Jefferson nickel collectors, as it indicates a superior quality strike from the original dies. While 1957 D nickels are more common overall, finding them in top mint state condition with full steps can still be a challenge. The Jefferson Nickel series from the mid-20th century also provides insights into the broader American cultural and economic trends of the era. The year 1957 was a time of post-war economic growth and technological optimism in the United States. The Cold War was escalating, and Americans were embracing consumerism, suburban living, and the rise of the automobile. Coins like the 1957 nickel were everyday objects in this rapidly modernizing society, facilitating purchases of gasoline, candy, postage, and small everyday items. Yet despite their ubiquity, these coins are now cherished by collectors for the role they played in this dynamic period of history. The longevity of the Jefferson design, lasting with minimal changes from 1938 until the Westward Journey nickel series began in 2004, makes it one of the longest-running coin designs in U.S. history. Minting techniques in the 1950s also illustrate the evolution of American coin production. While coins like the 1957 nickel were mass-produced with relatively efficient presses, die preparation and quality control were still less advanced than today's standards. As such, small variations, such as die cracks, double die strikes, and repunched mint marks, can occasionally be found and are of special interest to error coin enthusiasts. Die polishing and re-engraving sometimes led to weakened or overemphasized design elements, offering subtypes or minor varieties for specialized collectors. Some 1957D nickels, for instance, display minor repunched mint marks, RPMs, that are cataloged and valued higher than regular strikes. The Jefferson Nickel, including the 1957 edition, also serves an educational purpose for those studying the legacy of Thomas Jefferson. Featuring his likeness and home, the coin invites reflection on Jefferson's profound influence on the nation's founding principles and architecture. However, his legacy is complex, as Jefferson was both a proponent of liberty and a slaveholder. Thus, the coin occupies a symbolic space in American memory, honoring a founding father while prompting deeper questions about historical contradictions. From a numismatic standpoint, the 1957 Jefferson nickel is accessible yet historically resonant, offering value not just in monetary terms, but as a tangible piece of 20th century American history. Whether found in an old coin jar, inherited from a relative, or purchased at a coin show, the 1957 nickel represents a chapter in the ever-evolving story of the American economy, politics, and culture. Its durability and simplicity allow it to endure in circulation to this day, and for collectors, it offers a rewarding entry point into mid-century U.S. coinage, an era that bridged war and peace, tradition and innovation, and simplicity with the complexities of a changing world. The 1983 United States of America 5-cent coin, more commonly known as the 1983 Jefferson nickel, stands as an emblem of the enduring legacy of American coinage in the latter half of the 20th century. Continuing the design series that began in 1938, the Jefferson nickel maintained a consistent appearance for decades, making the 1983 edition a part of one of the longest-running series in U.S. mint history. The obverse of the coin features a left-facing profile of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, and the principal author of the Declaration of Independence. The portrait was originally designed by Felix Schlag, whose design was chosen after a nationwide competition held in 1938. On the obverse, surrounding Jefferson's portrait, are the inscriptions, "In God We Trust" on the left, "Liberty" on the right, followed by the year 1983, and a small 5-pointed star separating them. On the reverse is a depiction of Monticello, Jefferson's neoclassical estate in Virginia, centered under the Latin phrase, "E pluribus unum," which means, out of many, one. Below Monticello are the inscriptions, 5 cents, and United States of America, completing the visual narrative of Jefferson's legacy. The 1983 Jefferson nickel was struck in an alloy of 75% copper and 25% nickel, a metallic composition that had been standard for the denomination since 1946, following the temporary silver wartime composition of 1942-1945. It weighs 5 grams, has a diameter of 21.21 millimeters, and a plain, smooth edge. In 1983, the Jefferson nickel was minted at 2 facilities, Philadelphia and Denver. Coins struck in Philadelphia are marked with a P mint mark, which was a relatively recent development, as Philadelphia coins did not carry a mint mark until 1980. The Denver mint coins carry a D mint mark, located to the right of Monticello on the reverse of the coin. The San Francisco Mint did not issue any circulating nickels in 1983, although it did produce proof versions for collectors in special sets. The mintage for the 1983 nickel was substantial, with over 561 million coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint and approximately 536 million coins struck at the Denver Mint. These high production numbers mean that most 1983 nickels are common in circulated condition, but high-grade uncirculated or error coins from this year are still of interest to collectors. From a numismatic perspective, the 1983 Jefferson nickel does not have many widely recognized major varieties or dramatic errors, but collectors still seek out examples in mint state or with the full steps FS designation. Full steps refers to the sharpness of detail on Monticello's staircase on the reverse. If all 6 steps are visible and well-defined without interruptions, the coin is designated as full steps by grading organizations such as PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company. These coins are generally rarer and command a premium, especially in MS-65 or higher grades. While many 1983 nickels are found in worn condition due to extensive circulation, coins preserved in brilliant uncirculated condition, especially with full steps, are highly desirable. Coins with poor strikes are more common in this year due to worn dies and mass production priorities, which make sharp and clean examples more difficult to find. A handful of errors like off-center strikes, clipped planches, and die cracks can be found in 1983 nickels and are sought after by error coin enthusiasts. The coin also reflects the economic and political context of the early 1980s United States. The year 1983 marked a time of transition and recovery in the U.S. economy, following a recession in the early 1980s. Ronald Reagan was president, and his administration's economic policies, often referred to as Reaganomics, were beginning to show signs of impact. Inflation was stabilizing, unemployment was gradually declining, and consumer confidence was returning. The nickel, though a small denomination, was an essential part of everyday transactions and commerce. In this era, vending machines, payphones, and public transportation systems all depended on nickels and other coins, embedding them into daily American life. As prices began to rise throughout the decade, however, the purchasing power of the nickel slowly diminished, though it remained a useful coin for making change and exact payments. Technologically, the 1983 nickel represents a point before the major changes in U.S. coinage design and production quality that would come later in the 21st century. Minting techniques in the early 1980s were still largely mechanical and relied on aging equipment, which could result in soft strikes and weaker details. As a result, high-quality strikes with strong detail, especially of Monticello, are harder to find from this period. The coin's lack of design change in 1983 also speaks to the stability and tradition of U.S. coinage at that time. Despite debates about modernization and commemorative redesigns, the Jefferson nickel remained visually unchanged, which lent a sense of continuity to generations of Americans using the coin daily. It wasn't until 2004 and 2005, with the Westward Journey series, that significant design changes would be introduced to the nickel for the first time in decades. From a historical perspective, the Jefferson nickel carries more than just monetary value. It represents a tribute to one of the nation's founding fathers and the ideals of early American republicanism. Jefferson was a complex and influential figure, advocating for liberty, education, and agrarian democracy, yet his legacy is also shadowed by his ownership of slaves. The presence of his portrait and Monticello on the coin invites contemplation of these contradictions in American history. In this way, even a common 1983 nickel becomes a small artifact of collective memory, carrying layers of symbolic meaning that stretch beyond its face value. In conclusion, the 1983 United States 5-cent coin is both a continuation of a long-standing design tradition and a reflection of the economic, political, and cultural atmosphere of early 1980s America. Though it may appear ordinary to the untrained eye, this coin encapsulates aspects of design history, minting technology, and Jeffersonian symbolism, while also serving as a practical tool of commerce in a pre-digital era. For collectors, its true appeal lies in the pursuit of quality, seeking out well-preserved, fully struck examples that defy the wear and tear of circulation. Whether found in a pocket, inherited collection, or purchased in pristine condition, the 1983 Jefferson nickel offers a subtle but enduring link to America's past, both numismatic and historical. The 1987 The United States Mint produced Jefferson Nickels at multiple facilities, primarily at Philadelphia and Denver. The Philadelphia Mint coins bore a P mint mark, while those from the Denver Mint displayed a D. There were no nickels produced at the San Francisco Mint for general circulation in that year, although it did issue collector-grade proof nickels bearing the S mint mark in proof sets. The mintage numbers for the 1987 nickels reflect their wide circulation. Approximately 496 million were struck in Philadelphia, and about 477 million in Denver. These quantities ensured the widespread availability of the coin across the United States, serving as an everyday medium of exchange. The proof versions minted in San Francisco were specially made for numismatists and collectors, using polished blanks and dies to produce mirror-like finishes that stood out for their aesthetic quality and sharp detailing. The composition of the 1987 5-cent coin is an alloy of 75% copper and 25% nickel, a combination that has remained unchanged since the Jefferson Nickel's debut in 1938. This particular mix provides durability and corrosion resistance, allowing coins to remain in circulation for decades with minimal wear. The coin has a diameter of 21.21 millimeters and a weight of 5.0 grams with a smooth edge, lacking reading or inscription. Its uniform appearance and metallic resilience made it a staple in U.S. coinage. Unlike some other denominations, which underwent design overhauls or metal composition changes in the late 20th century, the nickel remained stable in form and function, further reinforcing its role as a reliable and familiar piece in the American monetary system. On the reverse side of the 1987 Jefferson Nickel is an image of Monticello, Thomas Jefferson's neoclassical plantation home in Virginia. This design has adorned the reverse of the Jefferson Nickel since its inception, and was also created by Felix Schlag. Above the depiction of Monticello, the inscription reads, E pluribus unum, a Latin phrase meaning out of many, one, reflecting the union of states into one nation. Below the image is the word Monticello, and beneath that the denomination 5 cents, followed by the inscription United States of America. The architectural rendering of Monticello is noted for its clarity and realism, offering viewers a small window into American heritage. Although minor modifications have occurred in the strike detail over the decades, the essence of Schlag's original vision remained intact in the 1987 issue. The historical context of 1987 does not necessarily provide significant changes to the Jefferson Nickel itself, as it was a relatively stable year in numismatic terms. However, the era was characterized by a growing interest in coin collecting among the American public. During the 1980s, the U.S. Mint continued to refine its processes for producing coins with greater consistency and precision, and collectors increasingly paid attention to die variations, strike quality, and mint marks. Although the 1987 nickel was not released as part of any commemorative series or with any special variations, unlike later years with the Westward Journey series, it still holds value for collectors, particularly in higher uncirculated grades or as part of mint and proof sets. Proof coins from 1987 with the S mint mark and deep cameo contrast are especially desirable, as they showcase the detailed engraving and finish that are not visible in general circulation strikes. In terms of value, the 1987 Jefferson Nickel is typically not considered rare or highly valuable in circulated condition due to its high mintage. In circulated grades, such as good to very fine, its value usually remains close to its face value. However, uncirculated, examples in mint state, MS grades, particularly MS65 and higher, are more sought after and can command a modest premium, especially if they exhibit strong luster and minimal contact marks. Proof versions with cameo or deep cameo finishes also hold collector interest, particularly when graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC. Full steps examples, coins that show a fully struck and clear series of steps at the base of Monticello, are particularly prized, as this feature reflects a strong and complete strike, something that was not always consistently achieved in minting during the 1980s. The 1987 nickel's design continuity and mass production also make it an excellent piece for illustrating the stability and endurance of U.S. coinage traditions. Though often overlooked in casual pocket change, the Jefferson nickel serves as a subtle tribute to American values, represented through its depictions of leadership, Jefferson, unity, e pluribus unum, and historical legacy, Monticello. Collectors of U.S. coins often seek to complete date and mint mark sets of Jefferson nickels, making even common date coins like the 1987 issue part of a larger and more meaningful collection. It is through this lens that even ordinary-seeming coins take on greater numismatic importance, offering educational insights into art, history, and American identity. In conclusion, the 1987 United States 5-cent coin may not stand out for its rarity or unique design changes, but it serves as a representative of mid to late 20th century American coinage. Its enduring design by Felix Schlag, dependable metal composition, and wide circulation underscore its importance as a foundational component of U.S. currency. For collectors and historians alike, the 1987 nickel offers a stable, accessible, and historically resonant coin that bridges generations, reflecting the unchanging core of the American monetary system in an era of technological and economic change. Whether found in a proof set, an uncirculated roll, or the change jar of a curious observer, the 1987 nickel continues to quietly fulfill its dual role as both a tool of commerce and a piece of American history. The 1979 United States 5-cent coin, commonly referred to as a nickel, is a significant representation of American coinage from the late 20th century. This coin, part of the Jefferson Nickel series, is one of the most recognized and circulated coins in the United States. With its long-standing design and material composition, the 1979 nickel offers insight into the monetary policies, historical figures, and metallurgical standards of its time. The coin's consistent use since its introduction in 1938 makes each issue, including the 1979 variant, a reflection of both the economic environment and the minting technology of its era. At the heart of the 1979 nickel's identity is its obverse design, which features a portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, and principal author of the Declaration of Independence. This portrayal, designed by sculptor Felix Schlag, has been a mainstay on the nickel since 1938. Jefferson is shown in profile, facing left, with his name not inscribed on the coin, but with his presence unmistakable. The word Liberty appears to the right of the portrait, followed by the date 1979. A small 5-pointed star separates the word Liberty from the date. The motto, "In God We Trust," curves along the left side of Jefferson's profile. These inscriptions uphold the traditions and principles that define American coinage and patriotism. On the reverse side of the 1979 nickel is an image of Monticello, Jefferson's neoclassical plantation home located in Charlottesville, Virginia. This design is also the work of Felix Schlag and has been retained in its classic form for decades. Monticello is depicted front-on, showcasing its columned portico and iconic dome. Above the image is the Latin phrase, e pluribus unum, which translates to out of many, one, reflecting the unity of the United States. Below the building is the name Monticello, followed by the denomination 5 cents and the inscription United States of America at the bottom. The use of Monticello not only highlights Jefferson's architectural ingenuity, but also connects the coin directly to his legacy. The 1979 5-cent coin was produced in large numbers at 3 mint facilities: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, marked with a D; and San Francisco, marked with an S. The Philadelphia and Denver coins were struck for circulation, while the San Francisco Mint produced proof coins, which are higher quality versions intended for collectors. Proof coins from this year are distinguished by their mirror-like finishes and sharply defined details. These mint marks are located on the obverse side, just to the right of Jefferson's portrait, near the rim of the coin. The presence or absence of these marks helps numismatists identify the coin's origin and sometimes gauge its rarity and value. From a compositional standpoint, the 1979 nickel follows the standard post-World War II alloy of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This copper-nickel blend gives the coin its distinctive silver-gray color and durability, which is suitable for heavy circulation. The coin measures 21.21 millimeters in diameter and has a thickness of 1.95 millimeters, with a weight of exactly 5 grams. It has a plain, smooth edge, unlike many other denominations which feature reading. The choice of materials and design standards are representative of the United States Mint's efforts to balance cost efficiency with durability and ease of recognition. Economically, the late 1970s were marked by inflation and shifting monetary policy in the United States, yet coin production remained consistent. The nickel played a vital role in everyday transactions, and its value remained significant for small purchases, vending machines, and change-making. Despite its relatively low face value, the coin retained practical utility and symbolic importance. In 1979, a nickel could buy small items such as a piece of candy, a portion of a newspaper, or a few minutes on a payphone, underscoring its relevance in daily life. Historically, the 1979 5-cent coin also represents a continuation of stability in U.S. coinage. While other denominations like the penny and the dollar underwent changes in design or composition in adjacent decades, the nickel remained largely untouched. This consistency made it a familiar and trusted piece of currency, often found in pockets, cash registers, and piggy banks across the country. Though the Jefferson design would not be significantly altered until 2004, when the Westward Journey series began, the 1979 version remains a key example of pre-modern coinage. From a collector's perspective, the 1979 nickel is not considered particularly rare, given its high mintage figures. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 463 million nickels, the Denver Mint over 325 million, and the San Francisco Mint issued over 3 million proof coins. As a result, circulated examples hold little premium over face value unless they exhibit exceptional condition or unusual errors. However, proof versions and coins in mint state, especially those graded MS-65 or higher, can fetch modest premiums among collectors seeking complete Jefferson nickel sets. Error coins from 1979 are a niche area of interest. While not widespread, some coins may exhibit striking errors such as off-center designs, die cracks, or double strikes. These anomalies increase in value based on their visibility and severity. Additionally, coins with full steps on Monticello, an indication of a strong strike, are more desirable to collectors. The steps at the base of Monticello's image are often weakly struck, so when all 5 or 6 steps are clearly visible, it denotes a higher quality example. The 1979 nickel is also appreciated for its historical associations. It reflects a period in American history where the country was grappling with energy crises, inflation, and geopolitical tension during the Cold War, yet continued to maintain confidence in its economic systems. Jefferson's continued presence on the nickel serves as a reminder of Enlightenment ideals and the foundational principles of American democracy. By featuring him, the coin links present economic life with the philosophical origins of the nation. The 1973 United States of America 5-cent coin, more commonly known as the Jefferson Nickel, represents a continuation of one of the longest-running coin series in American history. Issued during a period of socio-political change and technological advancement, the 1973 Jefferson Nickel is not only a functional piece of U.S. currency, but also a symbol of the nation's enduring traditions in numismatics and its broader economic narrative. Composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel, this coin weighs exactly 5 grams and measures 21.21 millimeters in diameter. Its design remained unchanged from earlier years of the series, bearing the left-facing profile of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse front and his Virginia home Monticello on the reverse back. Jefferson, the third President of the United States and the principal author of the Declaration of Independence, has been honored on the nickel since 1938, when his image replaced the earlier depiction of a Native American on the buffalo nickel. Designed by sculptor Felix Schlag, the obverse of the 1973 nickel features a detailed portrayal of Jefferson based on a marble bust by the French sculptor Jean-Antoine Houdon. The image captures Jefferson in a thoughtful pose, symbolizing his intellectual legacy. Surrounding the portrait are the inscriptions "In God We Trust" on the left and "Liberty," followed by the year 1973 on the right. A small star separates the two inscriptions, providing symmetry and a subtle design element. The reverse design displays the neoclassical Monticello, Jefferson's estate near Charlottesville, Virginia. The structure is centered and rendered with precise architectural detailing, emphasizing its domed roof, columns, and portico. Above the image is the word "E pluribus unum," Latin for "out of many, one," and beneath the building are the inscriptions "Monticello, 5 cents," and "United States of America." The 1973 Jefferson Nickel was struck at multiple U.S. mint facilities, primarily in Philadelphia and Denver, though no nickels were struck in San Francisco that year for general circulation. Coins minted in Philadelphia carry no mint mark, while those from Denver bear a small D to the right of Monticello. In terms of mintage, approximately 384 million nickels were produced in Philadelphia, and about 382 million in Denver, making the total production of the 1973 nickel over 766 million pieces. This high mintage reflects the coin's role as a cornerstone of everyday commerce in the United States during the early 1970s, a period marked by rising inflation, political tensions from the Vietnam War aftermath, and the unfolding Watergate scandal. Numismatically, the 1973 nickel is considered common due to its high production numbers. Most circulated examples have only face value unless found in exceptional condition, such as in uncirculated or proof state, with full steps on Monticello, a grading detail that denotes the clarity of the steps leading up to the building, often used by collectors to determine a strike's sharpness. While full-step nickels from 1973 are not exceedingly rare, they can fetch premiums, especially those graded MS65 or higher by agencies like PCGS or NGC. Proof versions of the coin were not issued for circulation but were included in proof sets, struck at the San Francisco Mint, easily identifiable by their mirror-like finish and often bearing the S mint mark. The 1973 5-cent coin falls into a broader historical context of economic uncertainty in the United States. That year, Americans grappled with the effects of the 1973 oil crisis, rising unemployment, and stagnation of the industrial sector. Currency, including the nickel, had to maintain integrity despite these challenges, and coinage policy was under constant review to ensure sufficient supply and cost-effectiveness. The nickel in particular was of interest because of its copper and nickel content, which fluctuated in market value and could potentially exceed the coin's face value, a situation closely monitored by the Treasury Department. Despite inflation, the 5-cent coin retained its buying power for basic purchases like candy, postage, or bus fares, keeping it relevant in everyday transactions. Culturally, coins like the 1973 nickel serve not just monetary functions but educational ones too. School children often use them in lessons about currency and government, and numismatic clubs frequently highlighted such coins in starter collections. The Jefferson Nickel had long been a staple for young collectors due to its availability and the historical weight of its design. Its longevity in circulation further bolstered its familiarity across generations. By 1973, the nickel had been in circulation with the same design for 35 years, becoming an ingrained symbol of American stability and tradition. In terms of production quality, the mint in the early 1970s faced significant wear on dies due to high mintage demands. This sometimes led to weaker strikes or die wear, manifesting in less detail, especially in the Monticello steps. However, the mint continuously improved quality control and die technology, And collectors have noted that while many 1973 nickels are average in appearance, select examples do stand out for their sharpness and luster. Errors, though not widespread, are always of interest to collectors. Some known varieties include minor die cracks, off-center strikes, and plancher flaws. These error coins can sometimes command interest and higher prices in the numismatic market, depending on their visibility and rarity. In addition to its physical and historical attributes, the 1973 Jefferson Nickel offers insight into the values and design principles of mid-20th century American coinage. The choice of Jefferson as the obverse figure and Monticello on the reverse underscores themes of democratic ideals, Enlightenment thought, and architectural sophistication. These motifs were carefully chosen not only to honor a founding father, but to embody the American spirit of innovation, independence, and governance by the people. Jefferson's legacy, both as a president and a statesman, was thus perpetuated in the daily lives of millions of Americans through this modest coin. While the 1973 nickel is not a rare treasure in the world of coin collecting, it represents an important chapter in the nation's numismatic history. It is a durable reminder of a complex era, when the United States was transitioning into modern economic challenges, while still relying on long-standing traditions in its coinage. For collectors, hobbyists, or historians, it offers a tangible link to a time of both uncertainty and resilience. Whether tucked away in a jar, lining a collector's folder, or exchanged in countless transactions, the 1973 5-cent coin continues to circulate stories of America's economic, political, and cultural journey.